and they didn't tell, like,
Hey, John, this is Jaden with IT Services. I just want to do a quick test to make sure you can hear me.
Got you loud and clear. Happy New Year.
Perfect, thank you. Happy New Year's as well. We'll call it.
I will call the meeting to order for Wednesday, the standing committee, the whole meeting for Wednesday, January 15th. We are going to try our best to, I noticed that the chamber thing starts at 11.
11:30, yeah.
It's in my calendar for 11 and my ticket says 11. So I'll be exiting probably right around 11. Then is Councillor Jolly online? Who's next, Deputy Mayor? Who's April, May? Gina, you might be taking over as chair. Okay, but we might get this done. So I need a motion to adopt the agenda. Councillor Mackay,
That the January 15th, 2025 agenda be adopted as presented.
okay, awesome. All those in favor? And that is carried. And so I didn't do attendance, but everyone's here except Councillor Jolly. And Councillor Hughes is virtual. Thank you for staying home when you're not feeling well, Sheena. Hope you feel better.
Yeah, you don't want this. Thanks.
No. Okay.
I gave it to you.
Now we have two appointments. I'm just looking here. So is Bob in the room? No. I see everybody. I know everybody's faces. Is Bob online? Okay, let me know if he comes online and I will just then. And Bill is at 9:30 specific. So why don't we go straight into, the minutes? Wes, you want to make a motion to adopt the
Sure.
minutes? Thanks.
That the standing committee of the whole meeting minutes of December 10th, 2024 be adopted as presented.
Awesome. I will call for a vote on that. And that is carried unanimously. Okay, let's jump right into the hydrogen paper in the interest of time. So hope you guys don't mind if I cut you off at around 9:30 when Bill comes in. But then we'll continue. Bill here? Bill, can you hear me?
I sure can.
Hey, how are you doing?
Oh, not too bad. I'm just hopping between meetings today. You know,
So
federal fiscal year is kind of busy.
yeah, it says on our agenda that you wanted to speak at 9:30, but are you ready to go now?
Yeah, this Megan's ready.
Meeting started at. I see it.
For 9.
Hey, Kathy.
Thought I had a half an hour.
This is
Sorry, Bill, you're up first.
on Pacific
Yeah.
Mexico time.
Mexico time, same time. I am so sorry, everyone. Okay, Bill, you guys can stay there though. Probably part of this anyway, so you are gonna give your annual report for the Environmental Advisory Committee. So first of all, thank you for a bunch of things. Thank you for the amount of years that you put into this committee and your passion for it. And thank you. I heard you had to take some time off of work to do this, so thank you for that. So I will turn it over to you and you can give us your report.
Thank you. Well, good morning. Well, my name is Bill Marsh. You probably all know that by now. And I'm the chair of the 2024 Environmental Advisory Committee. Thank you to Mayor Herron and Council for the opportunity to present the EAC 2024 annual report and 2025 priorities. Next slide there, Megan. Awesome. As a review, the EAC bylaws describe 3 distinct functions performed by the EAC to meet its goals. To receive information and updates from administration, new information or updates provided to the EAC that are deemed necessary, including topics that EAC will later be expected to provide input or advice on. Priority 2, provide input to administration, provide informal comments on environmental projects or issues identified by administration. And the last function, provide advice to council, written advice typically identified as priorities by council and or align with the environment long-range plans. Next slide there. Okay, the AC 2024 annual priorities. We had 3 priority areas in 2024. Reoccurring priorities include reviewing and improving of the 2024 environmental grants initiatives grant, and then this was actually renamed recently to the Green Community Grant. And Community Recognition Program nomination review and recommendations. Second priority, provide advice on update and review a sustainable buildings policy and environment management of contaminated sites policy and the idle free bylaw. Those are the cycled ones for this year. And the third was to provide advice on the climate adaptation implementation strategy, which will be an ongoing priority into 2025. Okay, advice to council and administration. In April, EAC reviewed and approved the environmental management of contaminated sites policy. The final policy was approved by City Council on consent on July 2nd. The ideal free bylaw was reviewed and approved in February 2024, and no changes to the bylaw were recommended. In March, the AC were provided an update on the Edmonton Metropolitan Region Board Climate Risk and Vulnerability Assessment and Local Climate Adaptation Plan. This helped to inform next steps and similar presentation to Standing Committee of the Whole on November 12th, 2024. This year, there was no nominations received in the environmental stewardship category of the community recognition program, so no action was required by EAC this last year. The community received and reviewed 4 green community grant program applications, and we recommended 3 of those applications to receive grants. And due to conflicting timelines and limited staff capacity, updates to the sustainable building policy were postponed to 2025. Okay, and in March, the AC reviewed the current environmental initiatives grant guidelines and provide feedback on updating both the grant's name to Green Community Grant and the guidelines. Additionally, the committee granted 3 extensions to previous recipients, allowing them more time to complete their proposed projects. In October, the committee participated in the Community Emissions Development Plan workshop that reviewed the key concepts from St. Albert's existing local action plan for energy conservation and greenhouse gas emissions reduction considerations for developing a community energy and emissions plan. Okay, on updates, the AAC received updates on the climate change impacts in the North Saskatchewan River Basin, overview of the green environment strategy, the city's waste and diversion programs. And lastly, EAC was provide updates on energy efficiency programs, including the Clean Energy Improvement Program and the Home Energy Efficiency Grant. Oh, the projects tours. In June 2024, we did our annual tour. We went and visited the Kingswood Dock. Amanda Wild, the supervisor of Parks Planning and Stewardship, provided an overview of the environmental impacts and low impact development of this project. Our second stop was the Coal Mine Road Community Garden. Community member and master gardener Dale Ford and the engineer Omar Neff provide an overview of the water capture project that was supported by the Environmental Initiatives Grant. Our third stop was Grosvenor Park. Ellen Robertson, the naturalization coordinator, introduced the 2024 Arbor Day site, and the committee got to see past and present successes of naturalization program. And fourth was Stop It at My House. So I was one of the recipients of grant funding under the Clean Energy Improvement Program. So I showed the heat pump project. As you can see there, it's a big, massive fan sitting outside my house. So in 2025,
What mine looks like it.
oh, was there a question there?
Sorry, Bill. No, I had a heat pump in my house too, and it was massive. Like,
They're much bigger.
yeah. They're
Then-
interesting, but sorry, to interrupt. Keep going.
Oh, no worries. EAC 2025 priorities. Review and approve the 2025 Green Community Grant Program and review and recommend the Community Recognition Program recipients. Number 2, provide advice on the update and review of sustainable buildings policy. And number 3, provide advice on update of the climate adaptation plan. And lastly, to provide advice on the natural asset management project. Okay. I know I've been rolling through this pretty quickly for you guys. The EAC would like to acknowledge the continued support and leadership of Council for establishing the EAC to provide advice to Council and administration on environmental matters. The EAC supports innovative programs and encourages citizen participation in environmental responsibility as an extension of the Environmental Master Plan and Green Environment Strategy. The AC would like to recognize dedicated efforts of Megan Meyer and Peyton Homiak in preparing agendas and presentations, managing meetings, and coordinating with other city staff. They make our meetings productive, engaging, interesting, and fun. We are fortunate to have you.
Did Megan write that too?
Great. And thanks to, of course, the committee members, Councillor Bermansky and McKay. Well, I won't say my own name. And Carmen
Thank
Pierce is vice chair to hold down the fort when I was hobnobbing across Canada dealing with federal infrastructure issues. And the rest of the committee members, Jordan Lucas, Scott Kilborn, Kevin Acham, Alan Black, and Monique Vetch. I guess, any questions? Comments?
Perfect. Thank you so much, Bill. We'll open it up to questions from council. Yeah, okay. I'm going to go to Councilor Bermansky for the motion when we get there. But I'm interested about, and maybe it's for you, the sustainable building policy that you didn't get to this year. I propose, but it'll be on the 25 work plan.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of looking for a sneak peek on, is it just an annual review that you have to do, or are you actually looking at some changes?
Looking at some changes.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay,
Some
significant?
Yeah, I would say so, yeah.
Okay, cool. I have to wait. It's all good. Ken, Mike, do you have any questions?
No, I don't.
You're good?
No. I mean, I'm sure somebody will say it already, but I want to thank Bill and sorry, Bill, I never got a chance to make it one meeting because I can't, Shelley for some reason makes them all. So.
That's good. That's you're good. And
Fine,
Councilor
thank you.
Hughes, any questions? Okay, so I will go to, actually, I'll go to you to make the motion now and your comments, and then we can have a chance to thank Bill. So go ahead.
That the Standing Committee of the Whole recommend to Council that the Environmental Advisory Committee's proposed 2025 priorities as set out in the EAC's 2024 annual report be approved.
Okay, any opening comments?
Well, I'm excited about what's happening in the next year. I'm not sure we'll get to it all before it's, council changeover time. And Bill, I thanked you at one of our council meetings previously. And I mean, you're so dedicated and put so much effort into it. And with all the work you're doing with the government now, I know it's a balancing act for you. So I truly hope you come back and help guide that new council, because they're going to need your expertise in the future. So if you could please do that, we would greatly appreciate that. And I can't say enough about what a great job you do for the committee and keeping everyone together. So looking forward, it's a good plan for 2025, and we'll see what part of it we can tackle before you might come back again.
Any other member of council have comments? All right, I think I'll just close it off. I said it at the beginning, Bill. You've been I think, how many years? 6, at least 10 years on this committee or various committees with so we need to thank you, and I agree with Councillor Bermansky. I'd like to see you back and helping out with some historical knowledge that you have with the city, and your passion is great. I would love, Megan, if in the future that tour that they went on, send it to all of council. You know what, I would have liked to go to Bill's house.
We had a big bus.
I'll let you, anyway, thank you. And thank you for the report. I think that the fact that we actually have the chairs presenting these reports is a marked improvement on what we used to do. It's because we actually have an ability to ask questions, et cetera, and it's easier to digest this way. So go ahead to close.
Okay, and to close on the motion, of course, the Environmental Committee is doing great things, and going forward, we have a greater plan for the future, and I want to commend the group for planning it as well. So hopefully we get a good portion done.
All right, call for the vote, guys. I think there you go. Sheena is in, so that's unanimous. Thanks for joining us, Bill. See you around.
Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks. Okay, now I will get my head back on, and we will now go to the hydrogen report. So who's presenting this one?
So,
Monty, you're gonna introduce it and hand over to Monty? Yeah.
Is this a high school presentation?
That's Trevor's second.
Pretty so.
no, thank you, committee. So, as council members are well aware, the hydrogen economy is a burgeoning, opportunity, within Alberta and within the Edmonton metropolitan region. And, Gage and Monty have done a lot of research sort of over the last, 12 months, looking at what does that mean, and potential opportunities for the city of St. Albert moving forward. So today's presentation is divided into two components. The first being sort of a look at hydrogen from a big picture. And then when we get into more specific details as it pertains to the St. Albert's potential opportunities, we are recommending that committee move in camera for that portion of that discussion. And so while Gage and Monty have largely run point on this, this has been a cross functional effort across almost all city departments. So we do have a couple other folks here as well to answer questions should it sort of pertain more to those operational areas. So without further ado, I'll give it over to Monty.
So yeah, hydrogen is a key aspect of the government of Alberta's environmental policy to cut emissions and grow the economy. However, at the present moment, there exists significant challenges within the hydrogen economy. So we're here today to inform council on the state of the current hydrogen economy and its context within the Edmonton metro region. And with that, I'll turn it over to Gage.
Yeah, so for example, a few of these challenges include a lack of production and distribution and end use infrastructure, which has created an environment where supply and demand mostly needs to be spurred by government investment. Additionally, the required infrastructure to support large-scale hydrogen production and distribution doesn't exist much yet. And technological hurdles such as transportation and storage have yet to be overcome with scalable solutions, even though there have been some pilot projects for each as well.
I think we're looking at the wrong slide.
No,
That's right. Oh,
He's reading.
I was too fast to go to the next slide. I can see their screens and I think I'm on the right one, yeah.
as well, there are some questions about the true environmental benefits of hydrogen, especially in Alberta, where majority of hydrogen production is accomplished by a method that requires carbon sequestration and large amount of energy for it. And now we'll go to the next slide.
Sure.
So just a bit of a background on hydrogen. So hydrogen is the most abundant gas in the universe. It doesn't exist really in nature, but it can be produced by a variety of sources. And when produced, it can be used as a fuel source or as a storage mechanism. And when used as a fuel source, it produces energy and only water is a byproduct, making it a clean burning fuel. So the main processes for hydrogen production are categorized as a variety of colors. So for example, on the left, we've got gray hydrogen, which uses natural gas as a feedstock, which goes through a process called steam methane reformation, which produces hydrogen and then carbon dioxide as a side effect as well. Then we've got blue hydrogen, which uses the same process, except we include carbon sequestration and storage in this process as well. Then we've got green hydrogen, which uses renewable electricity to go through a process called electrolysis, which splits water into hydrogen and oxygen. Then we've got brown hydrogen, which uses coal as a feedstock, which goes through a process called gasification to produce hydrogen and then CO2 and some other greenhouse gas emissions as well. Then pink hydrogen is similar to green hydrogen, except it uses nuclear energy instead of renewables. And so out of these main processes, Alberta mostly produces gray and blue hydrogen, so the first two. And in doing so, there are some carbon emissions included in that process. There's also a couple other methods like black hydrogen, which is produced from the gasification of oil, and turquoise hydrogen, which is produced by the thermal splitting of methane using a process called pyrolysis. And then on the right, you can see a chart that shows the approximate percentages of hydrogen production throughout the world. So the vast majority of it is natural gas, followed by coal, and then the last little bit is through byproducts or electrolysis or oil.
Fossil fuels with CCUS. It's only 0.6%.
Yeah. That's still
That's blue hydrogen.
yeah, that's blue hydrogen. Yeah.
Only 0.6.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And then through these processes, there are lots of value chains and end uses. So this includes everything from the electricity production for electrolysis, or the natural gas production for the steam methane reformation, then to distribution, whether it's by train, by pipeline, by ship, and then to the actual end uses, which could be for heating, for fuel use, or for power generation and storage or industrial processes. And we'll go to the next slide. And this chart just shows an example of some of the end uses of hydrogen and how likely they are to be successful in uses for hydrogen. So for example, at the top, we have fertilizer or methanol production or hydrocracking, which for these, there's not really any other processes you can use except for hydrogen. So they're most likely to be used in the future. And then near the bottom, we have stuff like metro, trains, buses, cars, and power generation, which we already do have electricity for these processes, which typically is more effective and more efficient than hydrogen would be or will be for these uses. We'll go to the next slide. Yeah, thank you, Megan. Then just for a quick environmental scan of the hydrogen production methods. In the chart, you can see the 5 different colors. And beside that, it's their emission factors. So how many kilograms of CO2 are emitted throughout 1 kilogram of hydrogen being produced? So just make a bit more sense. 1 kilogram of hydrogen used in a vehicle is approximately equal to 1 gallon of gasoline used in a vehicle. So the emission factor ranges quite a lot for each of these, especially for blue hydrogen. And that's because it's highly dependent on the efficiency and effectiveness of the carbon capture and storage rates. So currently, most blue hydrogen facilities use a carbon capture rate of around 40 to 60%. However, the study we used for this chart specifically had a capture rate of 93%, which is definitely like theoretically possible to get to, but it's just not what we're typically seeing. So blue hydrogen, it can be designated as a low carbon source if it has a high enough carbon capture and storage rate.
This might be a really hard question to answer, but the emission factor for typical, you said a kilogram of hydrogen is about a gallon of diesel or gas?
Gases. Yeah.
You know what the emission factor for?
Unfortunately,
Yeah, that's a hard question. Yeah. It just would really put things into
Yeah.
perspective. Okay, keep going.
And then I'll give it to Monty to talk about some of the policies and initiatives.
Right, so as council's probably aware, the provincial government is investing significant funds and political capital into hydrogen and has been for the past few years. Hydrogen's a key factor in policies and strategy documents that touch upon economic development, emissions reduction, and net zero electricity at the provincial level. So on the slide, the 5 documents listed on the left are examples of some of these strategies, plans, and initiatives that the province is incorporating hydrogen into. And The primary document to note is the Alberta Hydrogen Roadmap. This was published in 2021. It gives a very detailed overview of the 5 key markets the province has identified for hydrogen growth in Alberta, which are residential and commercial gas and utility systems, transportation and mobility, industrial processes, power generation and energy storage, and the export market. So in the past few years, the province has invested about $50 million into various hydrogen initiatives, largely through 2 provincial entities, which are listed on the right here. First one, Emissions Reduction Alberta, which through its Accelerating Hydrogen Challenge has partly funded 8 late-stage projects, typically ones that are involved with larger scale hydrogen fleet and infrastructure projects. So a good example of this is the Alberta Zero Emissions Fleet Fueling Project, or AZEFF, which seeks to build portable hydrogen fueling systems for municipal use, as well as a project to heat and power Millennium Place Recreation Center in Sherwood Park with hydrogen. So the other provincial entity that invests or kind of is the deliverer of hydrogen funding is the Hydrogen Center for Excellence, which is run by Alberta Innovates. And this funds early stage kind of research development, proof of concept style projects. So for example, a lot of these projects involve partnerships with research and technology branches of post-secondary institutions, and they involve concepts like testing the ability to blend hydrogen with natural gas in existing pipelines and larger scale hydrogen storage solutions. Most of these projects involve small scale building and development of these technologies. And so their results and the ability of these projects to kind of be scaled up in the economic sense will be really important in shaping the future hydrogen economy. So if these Alberta Innovates projects see a lot of success and they're kind of able to replicate and scale them up, that could result in a better environment for the growth of the hydrogen economy. However, if they don't see a lot of success, it could go the opposite direction. So key regional players and initiatives, Edmonton Global, arguably the largest driving force behind the development of the hydrogen economy in the region. They have an entire branch dedicated to hydrogen. And in addition to investment attraction efforts on an international scale, they spearhead the Edmonton Region Hydrogen Hub and also instigated the 5,000 vehicle hydrogen challenge that multiple regional municipalities have signed on to. They also host hydrogen-related events and publish a hydrogen newsletter that kind of talks about what's happening in the region. The Edmonton International Airport is also a key player. They both have the largest fleet of hydrogen vehicles of any organization and have partnerships with private industry to build and develop fueling stations, in addition to research and technology development to pilot hydrogen use in the aviation industry. The city of Edmonton is taking the regional lead in piloting hydrogen vehicles for municipal fleets, in addition to hydrogen fueling initiatives through its participation in the 2 initiatives listed here, the Zero Emission Hydrogen Transit Initiative and Zero Emissions Fleet Fueling Project. Strathcona County is also a key regional player due to its participation in this Zero Emission Hydrogen Transit Initiative. It also had a 2022 Alberta Municipalities Resolution on increasing hydrogen funding. And it also has plans for both residential and government buildings to be powered and heated by hydrogen. And so as far as private industry goes, Air Products probably has the largest footprint right now in the private market. This could change in the near future as a lot more announcements have come out in the past year of large-scale hydrogen projects. But what Air Products has done so far is incorporate a bunch of hydrogen initiatives and projects that actually touch on multiple aspects of the hydrogen economy. So Air Products, they're an international corporation involved with gas supply and associated equipment. They've committed to building a net zero hydrogen energy complex in the industrial heartland, as well as hydrogen fueling stations for the international airport. And they plan to have commercial hydrogen fueling stations on the QE2 between Edmonton and Calgary as part of a hydrogen commercial corridor project. So yeah, now we're at the point where to further kind of discuss the questions, implications and opportunities for the city of St. Albert, it's recommended that you move in camera as per section 21-24-1A of the Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act.
Awesome.
I think we can certainly take questions on what's been presented in public before then if you want.
Sure. Sorry, I was interrupting with questions. Anyone have any questions before we go on camera? It's all political. You want to make the motion, Wes?
I have
go
one
ahead,
question,
Tina.
Mayor. So this is a very water heavy use for hydrogen, if I'm interpreting this correctly, Monty. Has that ever come into consideration as all of this is moving forward? Because we continue to talk about water limitations, and yet this is very water heavy in demand.
Thank you for the question. I'll
It was
start.
just-
Maybe Gage can fill in. It has been a heavy topic of conversation because hydrogen production is very water intensive. And kind of the discussion has gone that, in fact, it is so water intensive that the hydrogen economy actually could not develop in the south of the province because there's just not enough water. It's different up north. However, there have been some concerns amongst environmental associations that it could have some significant impacts on water availability and usage in the region.
Is the water used for the process or just for cooling?
Process, I
Both.
believe.
Both. And of course, wastewater commission, they're exploring using, would you call that gray water? No.
We're way above
Reused
exploring.
water? Yeah.
Just to catch up, so Aero Utilities and Air Products have entered into a tri-party agreement with EPCOR where Aero will be supplying the new Air Products plant
Which is the effluent.
with one further stage of effluent
Okay.
in the sense of cleaning using a different technology than we currently use. And the pipe is already being built to the plant. Right now, negotiations are almost finished in relation to what that rate will be, but yeah, the water will be from the plant will be mainly used will be entirely used in the cooling process.
Okay. That helps.
To just jump in as well as the government of Alberta is currently undertaking a review of water related policies, which we're actively participating in that review as well. So,
Yeah, I just don't know if we're really considering all the consequences of going down this road. So thank you. That's it.
Mike?
Just a general question, there's been a couple of trials underway where they're doing injection of anywhere from 2 to 5 to 20% injection into natural gas.
In Fort Saskatchewan, yeah.
In Fort Saskatchewan and around the world, Australia, New Zealand, a couple other places. But anyway, do we know if those have been in place long enough to get an assessment? Is that a viable way to go? Because I'm thinking that percentage of hydrogen to homes and buildings could easily outpace anything that's used for transportation, like fueling stations. You only have to build one injection point to serve hundreds of homes. So we got any sense of kind of where that's going, Gage?
Yeah, to my knowledge, they're mostly still pilot projects. So to my knowledge, I think they would need another few years of information and data to actually confirm whether it be viable.
Have you been out to the ATCO demonstration center in Fort Saskatchewan?
No, I have.
Okay. Ken and I went.
Yeah, and Sean.
Yes, you were there too, Shel, and I can't remember what process they were using to create their hydrogen. It was pretty energy intensive.
Yeah, they
but
was pure natural gas.
Yeah.
Into.
But it's, and I think they've been doing it for well over a year now.
It's
And
actually really.
I think the furnaces are not affected so far that we've heard.
No, they're not.
So
And there.
it is a viable option.
Yeah,
for
and
heating.
then Brebner in Strathcona County.
It'll be 100%.
Will be, well, that's the intent.
Yeah.
And we all saw at that same trip, we saw
Yeah.
that one house.
Have you gone to the house?
No, I have.
Gage, we should take you. It's interesting. The house is fully hydrogen. So we went downstairs and saw the furnace, and they have a big tank sitting in their backyard, but it's, and the stove, everything.
Mhm.
Maybe just supplement some information, but a lot of the projects that the province is funding through like Emissions Reduction Alberta, they kind of have an end date of 2026. So that's kind of the time frame we're thinking that we'll get some information on whether or not these projects are actually feasible and can be scaled up. Right now, we don't know.
That's,
Yeah, just to get back to the water issue, so cooling, you can use gray water, but to actually make hydrogen, you need potable water, like, I mean, there's water and then there's water, right?
Yeah, if it were through the electrolysis process,
sure.
it would need to be like treated water, pure water.
The distilled type or?
I believe so, yeah.
Oh,
It's a significant,
fluoride.
it's a significant amount of water,
I was gonna say,
significant amount of water. But you also, in the last year, the province has also given 4 new licenses to industry into the North Saskatchewan River, so.
To pull water out. No.
So just a couple other questions. The Alberta Utilities Study, study paper that again talked about injection and overall cost benefit. You have to have a password to log in and look at that. Did you get a chance to look at that and see, you know, what their findings and recommendation was in that study paper? And that was commissioned by the government as well, or mandated, I should.
Yeah, I don't think I saw that specific utilities paper.
Just wondered. The other question I have is net energy in to produce and versus and a net energy out. Is this a positive equation by Annie's?
Not even close.
Not even close.
Okay, and then we have to add in the energy required to do carbon sequestration if it's really to be considered green or environmental. So that your initial answer of no, it's not, but did that even include the next step of, you know, the massive compressors and pipeline that?
Yeah, that just makes it even further
Okay,
away from being that positive.
okay. Thanks. Yes.
Okay, see no more questions for public, so Wes made the motion. All those in favor?
There is another section in the agenda report for the 40 pack, so we're actually going under 21, 24, 1A and 25. See, it's just, I didn't communicate that to Monty in time to get in.
Okay.
Just so you're aware.
Okay.
In a minute.
So the motion is as per the agenda package.
Yeah.
There it is.
Oh, there it is.
It's really
Yeah.
that.
Just say so
That's
moved.
what I moved.
All those in favor?
So moved.
Have to ask anybody that's in the Zoom to go into the,
Oh, breakout room, yeah.
get an invite.
You hear that, Sheena? You're gonna get an invite to go into a breakout room.
I'm looking
that
forward to
Bob-
being part of the
Bob guy
focus.
never showed up, eh? That Bob, no.
Okay. Zipper, yeah, and Zipper.
Get a.
Yeah, is that okay?
Yeah, that's okay.
As long as you go with it. Like I said.
Hang on.
Hang on.
Do you want to be like that?
All right, but I think,
Back to the future.
Yeah.
Using.
I think we are taking the right approach as is. So with nothing else on the hydrogen white paper, thank you, everyone. We are adjourned. Right.
Just had some announcements.
Oh, did you? Is it on the agenda? Go
Just real
ahead.
quick.
Emergent items, there's nothing. Go ahead.
It's just timely.
We're not adjourned.
But, I just wanted to note that, thank you to all of the administration for getting the traffic light in at Riverside. We had committed.
Done now?
Yep, we had committed the residents to have that in by the end of last year. Unbelievable to say last year, but it is in service and I've received many really positive comments about that now that that signal is in and working. I think we should mention too that we had great fireworks and we should recognize our sponsor that
Who is the sponsor?
Genstar.
Start, right.
Genstar, so well-attended event and well-run event. So again, something that, you know, super positive for St. Albert. And I personally would just note it over the Christmas, New Year's period. You know, the number of public operations, our emergency services, our fire, RCMP, and city operations that we're still working while we were sitting at home in the warm, enjoying our turkey and Grand Marnier. They were out there working, providing services to the city. And, you know, that was over an extended period of time, that Christmas break that we had. And, they should be recognized for working and not being at home with their families when we were at home with our families. So thank you.
You, Mike? Anyone else? All right, now we're adjourned. Leave.
Go by there.